What's good, y'all? So in this one, I wanted to talk about the power of silence. In our society, we tend to reward the outspoken people, the people that entertain us, the people that exude a bunch of energy. But what happens when you're the opposite? Are you not as valuable? Well, in society would tell you you're not. You have to be social. You need to be a socialite. You need to go out there and network. You have to do all these type of things. Well, I'm just living life in the opposite direction. Those people go out there in search of everything. I just wait for it to come to me. You know, this is something that I've noticed about my life. When I was more reserved, I always found myself to be the center of attention, even though I was doing my best to hide. Because if you're around a bunch of people in a conversation and you're not talking, eventually, once everyone has said their piece and there's like almost a lull in the conversation, somebody is going to bring that attention towards you. Hey man, you haven't been talking too much. What you thinking about? And then that's usually when it's my time to shine. I'm a very big proponent of speak when spoken to. Especially if I don't know people, I just speak when spoken to. I have nothing to prove here. I don't know you. I didn't know you before. And if I leave here, then nothing changed. If I leave here not making a relationship with you, then nothing's changed. You know what I'm saying? So why do I need to go out there and exude all this energy? That's just not my style. It's just not how I get down. But time after time, I find myself in the position where I've been quiet for so long that everyone becomes intrigued about me because I'm the only one that hasn't spoken. And that in itself is the power of silence. People are interested in the people that they know nothing about. If you go out there and you keep screaming out what you want people to know about you, oh, look at my car, look at my business, look at what I've done, then everyone knows everything about you off the rip. I don't consider myself a mysterious person. It's just you just gotta ask the right questions of me. If you don't ask me any questions that like stimulate my mind, I'm gonna give you the bare minimum. Yep, I did that. Cool. But if you like hit some of my buttons, like if you like touch on the topics I really like to talk about, then I open up like a book. It's no big deal. It's just for me, I have to gauge, how far I can go with people, whether it be psychology, whether it be about spiritual stuff, crystals, whether it be about like the world history, whatever. Let me see how far I can go, because the things that I know are different from your standard education, standard from the education that we've all been indoctrinated into. So a lot of people automatically start calling me a conspiracy theorist because, I'm into what I'm into. And it's like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't even believe half of the stuff. Some of it I find entertaining, and I'm waiting to see how it turns out, how it plays out. A lot of times, like, this is like personal to someone like, that I work with, but he always says like, oh, I believe in the science. And if science doesn't prove it, then it's not real and blah, 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 which is a very much a mindset where someone that just came out of college would have. So it's okay. That's the indoctrination. But what I asked him, and this is where he couldn't defend himself anymore, I asked him, I was like, okay, but doesn't science always change and update? So if I'm explaining something to you that, your science says isn't true, but then 5 years later, you find out that your favorite scientists then say it, oh, wait, it is true. Then you've been arguing a falsity this entire time, but because you had other little pieces of paper that said that you're right, that's your proof. It's like, I don't need science to tell me that the sky is blue. But let's just say in the hypothetical world that I tell you, nah, the sky is actually polka dot. No, you idiot, the sky is blue because blah, 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 blah. Look at all these documentations that say this. 10 years later, actually, the sky is a series of polka dots that blend together, look like a solid blue color. I just made that up, by the way. I completely made that up just for the sake of the example. But nevertheless, you were arguing something that even your sources have now said is true. So are you going to change up your position, or are you going to hold true because you don't want to admit that you were wrong? You see, you have less of an opportunity to be wrong when you sit there quietly and you hear everyone's perspectives first. That's my greatest gift. I sit back and I listen. You can't learn nothing if you're always talking. So the first thing I do is learn who I'm talking to. I get an idea of people's parameters. I get an idea of what realm that these people are living. Are they scientific? Are they superficial? Or are they deep? Are they introspective? Are they willing to learn? Are they willing to teach? Do they want to just talk and have someone listen to them? Or do they want to listen to somebody else? Blah, blah, blah. These are all the things that you learn when you just sit back and mind your business. But one of the things that I observed about myself as I've been growing is that I used to develop significant anxiety because I never knew when it was my time to speak. But you always know when it's your time to speak when someone asks you what you think about something. When all that attention is directed to you, you then know when it's your time to speak. The thing is with me, I can go to an event, I can go to a dinner and not say a single word, because that means I spent that entire time learning. I spent that entire time learning about people, learning individuals. If there's someone that I'm taking a liking to, that I can just catch them at a separate time. You know, male, female, romantic, professional, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's like if I grow a liking to you, then they say, hey, yo, bro, I like what you were saying about, bro. Oh, you heard that? No one else was talking about that. No one else seemed to hear me when I said that. I heard you, bro. I like what you were talking with that. Hey, yo, let's talk about that a little bit more. You know, if there's a young lady that piques my interest, hey, like I really just been seeing you throughout the night. How are you doing? My name is such and such. Oh, you were the quiet guy. I'm really not that quiet once you get to know me, but nevertheless, like the first level of me is like the learning phase. You can't learn if you're always talking, so I'm gonna sit back and learn you. You know, I learn so much about people just simply based off of what they choose to share. That's what's going on in their mind, and therefore their world will reflect all those things that they wish to express. The way people joke, the way people, you know, feel passionately about certain things, that tells you everything about the person. Don't get me wrong, yeah, some people could be living a facade and all that type of stuff, but time tells all time will tell. You know, time reveals all secrets, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, so time reveals all secrets. But then there's also too, let me pivot to like the more spiritual side. Once again, I've been reading a lot of Neville Goddard. And one of the ways that he ended a lot of his lectures was he said, now let's go into the silence. The silence is that meditative state. The silence is what he calls God. The silence is where you go into the infinite storehouse to literally go and create what you want. If you hear a bunch of noise, that is chaos. You can't create nothing in chaos, because from chaos comes order. In that silence is where you order from the infinite storehouse of what you want delivered to your doorstep, called life. So when I abide in the silence, that's where I find my strength. That's where I find my fortitude. You know, that's where I just become solid and whole. I'm just in the silence. Because here, in this silence, the only thing that makes sounds are my thoughts. And if my thoughts create reality, then in this silence, I better be having good thoughts. Silence equals zero. Silence means that there's nothing going on. You are in a state of stillness, which in its own right is a very beautiful place to be. When I choose to add a couple of decibels to my internal conversation, that's when I'm just like, oh, okay, this is what I'm thinking about. If this is what I'm thinking about, this is going to be what I experience. Is this thought I'm having serving me? Yes or no? Yes? Then we continue the thought. We allow it to seek expression in my world. If we don't, we silence that thought, or we change it. Very simple. You know, silencing people can be a noun and it can be a verb, as I've just used it. When you silence somebody, you don't like what they were saying and you shut them up. Shh, 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 shh. And that's a very annoying thing. But when you silence yourself, that could be a positive or negative expression as well. When you silence yourself because you don't think that people are going to like what you have to say, who cares? Why would you do that? You know, we are all supposed to be infinite expression, however you choose to do that. If you have something to say, then say it, and say it with your chest. Say it with confidence. And if you find out that you're wrong, then you're wrong, and pivot. If you find out that you're right, don't gloat. Just be like, hey, I did my research. You know, or I had a gut feeling and that just proved itself to be correct. You know? We live in this world now where cancel culture is so prevalent, but that's just the matrix breaking down. Everybody's looking for a reason to be mad. Everyone's looking for a reason to be triggered. And if you're a silent person, no one's going to be triggered by you, at least. I'm not saying just like be quiet so you don't get canceled or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just talking about like in a regular social interaction, a social situation, a business event, whatever. Just sit back and listen. Because oftentimes people will just like divulge to you. Oh, you're the quiet person. You're the listener. I'm just going to vent to you. Go right ahead. You know, I can have my own opinions and still listen. You see what I'm saying? Because that helps me tailor my vision. Silence is my strength, and I just want to share that with y'all because I feel like some of y'all might feel the same way. To the next one.